I showed up for the last day of rehearsal and I was super depressed, and the lessons and the stories I take from that, there's no price.
Jessica Chastain has recently accused Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds of taking over her lead role in Black Dove. Despite having already filmed her scenes weeks prior, Netflix reportedly decided to bury Jessica's footage without any prior notice.
I've never had that experience on a set.
Now, the internet is ablaze with controversy, and Blake is facing criticism for transforming someone else's authentic performance into a mere publicity stunt for the red carpet. Word is, Jessica was locked in until someone with more influence rewrote the script. First and foremost, let's set the record straight. In Hollywood, landing a role isn't as simple as receiving a friendly offer. The truth is, you have to navigate sabotage. That's the true casting process these days. As for Jessica Chastain, she fought through it all, only for someone to get a bit too fixated on sparkle and ultimately pushed her out of her own film. Jessica dedicated over a year to Black Dove. Yes, an entire year. She didn't just show up to read lines. She poured her energy into the film's creation. From crafting mood boards to mapping out complex trauma arcs, she collaborated with the director every step of the way. Her name was stamped on every single creative document. It wasn't just a role for her. It was a project she shaped, leaving her mark on every detail.
Because the couple weeks it's like the energy, it was like filtering in my pores. I was starting to like feel this like, and she could see immediately when I came in that I just wasn't feeling good, that I was kind of sad.
And where was Blake Lively during all of this? Nowhere to be found. She wasn't involved in any of the initial discussions. She didn't audition, she didn't contribute to the development process, and she certainly didn't pitch any ideas. Yet, out of the blue, she walks in as if the studio had been expecting her the whole time. The only thing Blake had on her side was a husband with a pitch deck and a troubling tendency to label other women as too serious for his marketing schemes.
It's just devastating, and I'm just so grateful to Variety and Karma and everybody here to be shining light on this issue.
Ryan Reynolds. Let's take a moment to discuss him. He actually pitched Blake as the cleaner cell, implying that Jessica was too prestigious, too serious for the role. I mean, seriously, what kind of ridiculous logic is that? Jessica is an Oscar-winning actress with undeniable range, intensity, and depth. But I suppose that's a bit too much of a threat when your wife's reputation is based mainly on waving handbags and blowing kisses on the red carpet.
And she could see immediately when I came in that I just wasn't feeling good, that I was kind of sad. I never said I don't want to work today.
And it gets even worse. This wasn't just a sneaky recast. This was an attack on everything Jessica had worked so hard to build. When Blake came onto the scene, it wasn't just with her perfectly styled hair and recycled Instagram poses. No, she arrived with a rewrite backed by Ryan. And let me tell you, it was the most absurd downgrade you could imagine. They took a script centered around trauma and survival and twisted it into what can only be described as a glorified perfume commercial. They said Jessica was too serious for a thriller. Meanwhile, Blake's giving fashion show energy in every frame. Make it make sense. Jessica had already done the rehearsals. She had test shots filmed 6 weeks before Blake was even part of the conversation. Let that sink in for a moment. Director Isabelle Fontaine confirmed this. The entire vision for the film, from its look to its tone and wardrobe, was designed around Jessica. It was her project, plain and simple. Then Blake shows up, and suddenly the script's deep, emotional PTSD arc gets reduced to something they're calling elevated danger. Elevated danger? Seriously, is that just code for adding more dresses and rooftop scenes?
I've realized this past year I've had to be careful and take more of a break between films.
They didn't just rewrite the film. They stripped it of its emotional core and replaced it with shallow Euroglam nonsense. Because, apparently, nothing screams emotional depth like sunglasses and cobblestone streets. They took a raw, powerful story about internal rage and betrayal and gave it a glossy, superficial makeover. And Ryan, he had the nerve to defend it by saying, "She's Blake, she can pull anything off." Well, maybe anything except delivering a decent monologue or portraying a character with any real substance. Now, you'd think this would be where it ends, right? But no, Blake and Ryan's little sabotage scheme didn't stop at just stealing the role. They launched an entire campaign to erase Jessica from her own narrative, after Blake's little publicity stunt. And don't worry, we'll get into that in the next section. Netflix suddenly began cancelling everything Jessica had already lined up. Her press tour? Gone. Her appearance on The Tonight Show? Postponed. Her scheduled photo shoot with Variety? Labeled as stylistic redundancy. Okay, sounds completely fake, but sure.
It takes a lot out of you sometimes, and you have to have space to then fill up again, you know?
And then the truth comes out. A Slack message gets leaked. And what does it say? Kill the Chastain rollout. Ryan's team flagged a confusion concern. A confusion concern? Are you kidding me? The only confusing part of this whole situation is why Netflix thought swapping raw talent for red carpet cosplay would be a smart move. But it doesn't stop there. Jessica had already filmed a scene, and not just any scene. A stripped-down, emotionally intense monologue in a warehouse. Barefoot, no makeup, delivering the line. If I die here, no one will ask who buried me. They'll ask who dressed me. Tell me that's not haunting. Tell me that's not powerful. But Blake's team buried it. They didn't want it out. Too real. Too good. Too threatening to the woman who thinks acting is just about pulling dramatic faces while wearing expensive coats.
I think it's because we underestimate sometimes how much when you're playing a character you give of yourself.
But guess what? That clip got leaked anyway. Through a private Vimeo link. No branding, no logo. Just the raw footage of a woman effortlessly out-acting every watered-down version they tried to push in her place. And when people saw it, the response was immediate. Netflix, you good? We lost the real Black Dove, one fan said. And honestly, they nailed it. Here's the harsh truth. Blake Lively didn't just take a role. She stole the performance, the preparation, the story, the very soul of the film. And she did it without ever lifting a finger to put in the work. She didn't fight for this project. She didn't build it. She simply strolled in with her polished brand and her husband's PR team in tow. And somehow, everyone pretended that was enough. Jessica didn't get replaced, she got erased. But here's the thing about trying to erase a woman like Jessica. You can't. Because when the dust settles and the glitter fades, guess who's still standing? Not the girl who mimicked the script and wore someone else's dress. The one who built it from the ground up and never backed down.
And the lessons and the stories I take from that, there's no price. It's beyond.
And that, right there, is what makes this entire fiasco so repulsive. Because they didn't just take Jessica's role, they tried to take her legacy. And as for Blake, she's not some rising star. She's a Hollywood parasite cloaked in couture. You really thought Blake Lively's little stunt was just about stealing a role? Think again. That was just the opening act. When this woman decides to hijack a performance, she doesn't stop at the script. She goes full single white female mode. And I don't say that lightly. We're talking about a level of identity theft so glaring. It should have come with a mugshot and an orange jumpsuit. Let's talk about what happened at Candy, because that's the moment it all stopped being subtle. You can try to rewrite the script. Just don't act surprised when the audience walks out halfway through. There she was. Blake Lively, confidently strutting down the red carpet in Jessica Chastain's exact 2022 look. Not a version inspired by it, not a similar vibe. I'm talking exactly the same. The same crimson lipstick shade, the same old Hollywood waves, and the same minimalist designer gown that Jessica had worn to the exact same event just a year earlier. The side-by-side comparisons flooded the internet within minutes. Fans were doing double takes. Headlines were popping up everywhere, literally asking if Blake had raided Jessica's stylist's closet and asked for a carbon copy of the outfit. Sorry, but this is wild. Blake Lively showing up in Jessica Chastain's old can look like it's a rental. What are we doing here? But it doesn't stop at the clothes. You think Blake was just cosplaying as Jessica on a visual level? No, she wanted the entire package. A few days later, she shows up on a podcast and drops a quote so specific, so eerily familiar, it left the internet reeling. You don't chase the moment. You let it find you. Sound familiar? That's because Jessica said that exact line in a 2021 Vanity Fair behind-the-scenes video during the Eyes of Tammy Faye promo. Word for word, no paraphrasing, just straight-up theft, copycat or coincidence. Fans call out Blake Lively for reusing Chastain. Quote, a new podcast appearance. And when the internet did what the internet does best, drag someone to oblivion, Blake's PR team actually had the nerve to call it an homage. Excuse me? An homage is something you do when you light a candle in someone's honor, not when you steal their personal philosophy and wear their lipstick while doing it. Fans weren't having it, and they certainly weren't buying that excuse. Of course, Blake stole it. She never does groundwork or pay a single penny. She just ambushed them, and takes what she wants. Comments came pouring in, calling it exactly what it was. Narcissism with lipstick. Copycat behavior. Celebrity plagiarism. One post summed it up perfectly. If Blake Lively gets any closer to becoming Jessica Chastain, we're going to need DNA tests. Jessica, of course, didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Her stylist, the true MVP of this quiet battle, took to Instagram with a cryptic story. No tags, no captions, just the original Black Dove mood board. And right in the corner, scrawled in Jessica's unmistakable handwriting, were the words, "She doesn't play roles, she shapes them." One simple sentence, one powerful image, and the internet immediately knew exactly who that was meant for. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Jessica Chastain didn't get where she is by being someone's placeholder. She built the lane. But wait, just when you thought this mess couldn't possibly get any more ridiculous, Ruth Wilson stepped in with the ultimate mic drop. And no, Ruth wasn't even directly involved in the drama. She had turned down an earlier version of Black Dove back, when it was still just a draft. But the real kicker? A resurfaced clip from 2020 showed her casually recalling what a producer had said to her after she passed on the project. "It's okay. We'll Blake it up a bit. You'll see it at the Globes." Excuse me, what? Let's break that down for everyone who missed it. Blake it up. That's not a compliment. That's industry speak for dumbing it down, slapping a shiny filter over it, and making it red carpet friendly. In other words, strip away the substance, glam it up, and make sure it's watered down enough to go viral. Just like that, Blake it up became the new Hollywood insult. Twitter erupted. Reddit forums went into overdrive. People started connecting the dots. Blake doesn't add depth. She replaces it with cheekbones and cocktail dresses. And the proof? It's right there in the side-by-side comparison of the original script and the final Blakeified version. Jessica's Black Dove was about a woman grieving betrayal who uncovers a surveillance network designed to erase women. That's gritty, real, and emotionally complex, a role with real weight. Now, compare that to Blake's version. A glamorous archivist caught in a Eurospy cat-and-mouse chase. Are you kidding me? That's not a thriller. That's a perfume commercial with a plot twist. One fan summed it up perfectly. This isn't a rewrite. This is identity theft with contour. But here's where Jessica truly showed Blake what real acting and true power look like. On May 7th, Jessica's team dropped a 94-second silent bombshell that hit everyone like a ton of bricks. It wasn't an announcement. It wasn't a press release. It was just a raw, dimly lit monologue. No makeup. No styling. No names. Just Jessica, calmly staring into the camera, composed, and delivering the line that completely obliterated Blake's entire PR circus in a single sentence. "They didn't take my role. They took the credit. But the performance? That stays in the blood. Let me make it clear. That wasn't a PR stunt. That was a calculated takedown, disguised as an art piece. It wasn't loud or messy. It was fury, controlled to perfection." 3 journalists received the link, and one of them tweeted about the moment they finished watching it. Jessica Chastain just showed Netflix and Blake Lively exactly what real power looks like. And let's just say, she wasn't wrong. Because exactly 20 minutes after that video dropped, Netflix experienced a glitch. But not just any glitch. Blake Lively's face disappeared entirely from the Black Dove landing page. Gone. Completely wiped out. In its place was a static image of a bleeding dove. White feathers. A red stain. No names. Was it a bug? Was it sabotage? Was it karma on overdrive? No one really knows. But someone caught it. They screen recorded it. And by the time the internet had finished dissecting it, the damage was irreversible.so. What have we learned from all this? Blake Lively didn't just want a role. She wanted the entire identity. The quotes, the wardrobe, the vibe, the audience, the buzz surrounding awards season. Everything Jessica had spent months, even years, building. She wanted to wear it, post it, perform it, and then pretend it was all hers. And when called out on it, Blake's team didn't apologize. No, they doubled down. They called it an homage, a rebrand, a creative reinterpretation. Please, if you truly want to honor a woman's work, maybe start by not bulldozing her out of it in the process. Jessica didn't scream. She didn't threaten. She didn't even bother posting a single caption. Instead, she allowed Blake to dig her own glittery grave, and then quietly handed her the shovel. Because here's the truth. You can dress like Jessica, talk like Jessica, even steal her damn script. But at the end of the day, you're still just Blake Lively playing dress up. And the internet? They see it. They always do.
I'm trying to take a space in my life where I then take time to then honor myself by filling up, spending time with my family, all of that.
The moment that raw footage of Jessica's Black Dove scene leaked, the internet immediately sensed that something wasn't right. Actually, not just something, everything. Because the metadata told a story that no press release could possibly cover up. That clip? It had been filmed weeks before Blake even showed up with her Eurospy fantasy and her husband's shortcut campaign. It wasn't just proof. It was a digital receipt that shouted Jessica was here first. And Netflix buried it like they were trying to cover up a crime scene. Then came the insider leaks. And trust me, they were savage. One Netflix executive, who clearly either didn't sign an NDA or just didn't care anymore, straight up told a journalist, this wasn't recasting, this was repackaging. Let that sink in for a second. Not a casting change. Not creative redirection. Just flat-out gift-wrapped fraud. All dressed up in high heels and contour. They didn't swap out actors. They slapped Blake's face onto someone else's work and just hoped no one would notice. And while Ryan Reynolds and Blake were probably somewhere clinking champagne glasses, congratulating themselves for what they thought was the slickest heist since Ocean's 11, the rest of the industry wasn't exactly impressed. One anonymous producer summed it up perfectly. Somewhere, Ryan and Blake are high-fiving, but no one's clapping. And that right there? That's the sound of respect disappearing in real time. But it didn't end with just the producers. Netflix employees, the ones who actually do the work while the PR team spins their web of lies, started posting cryptic yet cutting tweets. One wrote, "There's prestige, then there's product. We lost the prestige." Another simply posted a dove emoji with a bleeding heart. And trust me, you didn't need a degree in shade to know exactly who that was meant for. Behind the scenes, one executive let the truth slip in private. It was Ryan. Blake wanted the role, and he sold it. So not only did she not fight for the role the way Jessica did, she didn't even pitch it herself. Her husband did. She basically sent him to do the hard work while she just sat back, waiting for the handover as if it was some sort of gift basket. That's not ambition. That's entitlement, wrapped up in glittery paper. And let's talk about that entitlement, shall we? Because Blake Lively has officially become Hollywood's prettiest parasite. She's not building anything. She's feeding off women who've already done the heavy lifting. Jessica Chastain, Ruth Wilson, Amy Adams. These are women who collaborate with directors, shape characters, and create genuine art. And what does Blake do? She rolls in at the last minute, adds a smoky eye and a cinched waistline, and calls it a performance. We're not talking about inspiration here. We're talking about a pattern of behavior. From stealing quotes to copying looks to reshaping entire scripts, Blake's playbook is becoming all too clear. Find a powerful woman's work, strip it down, slap a glam filter over it, and sell it as something original. At this point, she's less of an actress and more like a walking Pinterest board. And the public? Well, they're done pretending. The memes started pouring in fast and hard. She's not acting, she's cosplaying. Jessica built it, and Blake just bedazzled it. Blake Lively, the celebrity version of Control plus C, Control plus V. Even her L'Oreal campaign didn't escape the fire. One viral comment called it, "From black dove to white mascara. How do you bleach a plot?" That one. It went global in hours. And honestly, it's easy to see why. Because people weren't angry that she got a role. They were livid that she tried to erase the woman who made that role meaningful in the first place. Fans didn't hold back. They said what everyone else was too polite to acknowledge. She didn't just steal a role. She stole an entire narrative, a performance, a woman's work. She didn't simply step into a role. She pushed someone out of it. And then, to make matters worse, she had the audacity to make it look like she'd always been the star. Jessica's acting blows the talentless Blake deadly right out of the water. Meanwhile, Jessica Chastain didn't throw a tantrum. She didn't release some heartfelt notes app apology. She didn't go on the talk show circuit to try and spin the story. She simply let the footage speak for itself. The monologue, the raw emotion, the undeniable proof that real acting isn't about carefully calculated angles or trending hashtags. It's about honesty. It's about depth. And most of all, it's about respecting the damn work. Jessica didn't scream. She didn't file a lawsuit. She didn't throw wine across a table or break her silence with some PR-fueled, my truth nonsense. She let her craft do the talking. And you know what? It spoke far louder than Blake's entire rebrand. The internet didn't care about how many shiny gowns or close-up selfies Blake posted. Once they saw that original Black Dove scene, they knew exactly who the true lead was. And it sure wasn't the one with a personal hairstylist on set. One critic summed it up perfectly. This wasn't about a role. It was about who gets to build stories and who gets to steal them. And that's where the heart of this lies. Because this isn't just some celebrity spat. This is about power, access, and how women's work gets erased when it threatens to make others uncomfortable. Jessica did the labor. Blake did the remix. And Netflix, instead of standing behind the artist, chose to sell the sparkle. Blake might have rewritten the script, but Jessica? She rewrote the ending. Because now, no matter how much Blake tries to polish her fake glow, the truth can't be concealed. The world knows. The story's out. The receipts are everywhere. From podcast quotes to wardrobe theft to outright digital gaslighting, the evidence isn't vague or hidden. It's precise. It's calculated.
It's just devastating, and I'm just so grateful to Variety and Karma and everybody here to be shining light on this issue.
And here's where we find ourselves. So, who do you believe? The woman who shaped the role from the very beginning, or the one who sparkled over its grave as if it were just another runway challenge? The fans are watching. The critics are speaking out. And Netflix? They're scrambling behind the scenes, as if someone just unplugged the power. Because when truth starts trending, not even the most polished PR machine can stop the damage. Jessica built the role. Blake stole the spotlight. Now it's up to you. Who truly owned Black Dove? Hit that subscribe button and drop your thoughts in the comments. Transcribed by turbosurabi.ai. Go unlimited to remove this message.